My family called me their curse. The day I was born, my dad lost everything in business. On my first birthday, my mom got fired. And honestly, for years I believed them, until I uncovered their dirtiest secrets, and it changed everything. When most people remember their childhoods, they talk about birthday cakes, little parties, friends running around the house, the smell of food, music, and laughter. But my childhood? It was nothing like that. The day I was born, my father lost his business. That was the first story my family ever told about me, that I entered this world carrying misfortune on my tiny shoulders. And exactly 1 year later, on my very first birthday, my mom was called into her manager's office and fired from her job. Two terrible events, back to back, connected by dates tied to me. At least, that's what my parents believed. From then on, they stopped celebrating my birthday. No cake, no candles, no singing, nothing. They said birthdays only brought loss, and since my birth had ruined everything, they weren't going to risk celebrating anymore. Imagine being a child and realizing the day you should be most loved was treated like poison. And whenever something good happened, they kept it from me, as if my very knowledge could jinx it. I found out my sister Ellie was pregnant months after everyone else already knew. When I asked why no one told me, she laughed in my face. Because you would have jinxed it, obviously. That word, jinx, it cut deeper than any slap could. I grew up shrinking myself, believing maybe they were right. Maybe I really was cursed. Still, deep inside, I kept a small hope alive. One day I thought they'll see me differently. They'll realize I'm not the problem. So when graduation came, I finally asked them for something. For the first time in years. Can I please have a graduation party? I asked. You never gave me a birthday party. Can I at least have this one? To my shock, they said yes. For 2 weeks I planned. I was so happy. I imagined decorations in our backyard, maybe even cake for the first time in my life. Family smiling at me, not because they had to, but because they were proud. It was the happiest I'd been in years. But the night before my graduation, Ellie walked into my room with red eyes. Mom and Dad want to talk to you, she said softly. I got divorced. My chest sank, and then she whispered the words that shattered me completely. They said, it's because of you. They said your graduation, your big day, cursed me. Your happiness always costs this family something. I felt like my entire soul collapsed in that moment. My own father, the man who was supposed to protect me, was telling me I didn't belong in my own home. I didn't argue. I couldn't. Tears blurred everything as I packed a small bag and left. I went to live with my grandparents, completely broken, carrying their words like chains around my neck. For the first time, I started believing maybe they were right. Maybe I really was cursed. At my grandparents' house, I found a little bit of comfort. They never treated me like bad luck. They treated me like a grandchild, like someone who mattered. But they also saw how broken I was. One evening, while I sat quietly at the kitchen table, my grandma touched my hand and said, "Tell me everything." So I did. I poured out my whole heart. The canceled birthdays, the silence, the exclusion, the graduation, the divorce, and finally, the words my father said when he threw me out. Grandma's eyes filled with tears. She stayed quiet for a while. Then she finally spoke. "Listen to me carefully. The day your father lost his business, the day you were born, it wasn't fate. He didn't tell you the truth. He cheated his business partner. His partner took him to court. That's why he lost everything. It wasn't you. It was him." Her words shook me. For the first time in my life, I saw a crack in the story I'd been told. Maybe it was never me. I felt anger bubbling in my chest, but also suspicion. If Dad lied about that, what about Mom? What about Ellen? The next few days, I couldn't stop thinking. So I started digging. For Mom, I tracked down one of her old coworkers on Facebook and messaged her. After a few awkward exchanges, she finally told me the truth. "Your mom wasn't fired unfairly," she said. "She got caught stealing money from the company. They had no choice but to let her go." I sat there shaking. Then I decided to check on Ellen. I found her ex-husband's social media. After scrolling and scrolling, I saw a post, a bitter rant. The truth. She cheated on me. After everything I did for her, she betrayed me. I couldn't believe it. All those years. Every single thing they blamed on me. Every time they whispered, "She's the curse." It wasn't me, it was them. Their lies, their sins, their secrets. I gathered everything. Proof of Dad's lawsuit, Mom's firing, Ellie's affair. And one day, at a big family gathering, I exposed it all. I laid out the papers, the screenshots, the records. I told everyone the truth. You blamed me for everything. You told me I was cursed. But the truth is, it was never me. It was all of you. My dad cheated his partner. My mom stole money. My sister destroyed her marriage. And instead of owning up, you made me your scapegoat. You called me bad luck when really, my only bad luck was being born into this family. The room went silent. My mom stuttered, "Rosie, it's not what you think." "No," I said firmly. "It's exactly what I think. You all ruined your own lives and pinned it on me." Dad tried to shout, but Grandma slammed her hand on the table. "Enough. She's right. You all owe her an apology." They apologized, sure, but apologies can't fix years of scars. Half my life had been spent believing I was cursed, when really I was just unlucky enough to be surrounded by people too weak to face their own truth. Now, I live with my grandparents, and for the first time, I feel free. Free from the chains of being called cursed, free from the weight of lies. And I finally understand. I was never the bad luck. It was just my bad luck to be born in such a family. So tell me, if your own family spent years calling you bad luck, would you forgive them after finding out the truth?